Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time Sports. I'm your host, Keith Weissite. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it very, very much. You know, it's one of those times where we are in rather unprecedented times, and that's changed again. But one of the things we like to do is look to and talk to some of the people that are taking care of the kids in our area. We welcome to the program, or back to the program, head basketball coach over at Ellender, Cornell Scott. Coach, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it very, very much. Look, man, it's been challenging through COVID, right?
Yes.
It's been tough. And then Ida hits. So tell me what it was like as you guys were preparing for the school year, and then we'll talk a little bit about Ida and what happened with it.
Man, preparing for the school year it was troubling, you know, really, with the storm hitting. You're not knowing which kids are coming back. You're not knowing who you're going to have. We really wasn't sure where we were going to be at. So that was the most difficult part, you know, getting started this year.
Yeah, and so one of those things that's just got to be, you know, just as a teacher and a coach, just trying to figure out, you know, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this work? You know, and how am I going to how am I going to teach? And what kids do I have?
Yes.
You know, did you have some of those kids that you thought were going to be there that weren't?
Yes. Some kids that, you know, we thought were going to be there that, you know, we were trying to find kids, where they're going, what happened. You know, one big loss we had, you know, was DeAndre Thomas. You know, we lost him to him and his family moved to Texas, and which they lost everything. You know, another kid, two kids, Ryan and Roy Williams. You know, they lost everything. So it was kind of hard. You know, and you want to have basketball, but when kids lost things and, you know, their families are displaced, it's kind of hard to kind of put the ball on the court and start playing basketball.
Yeah, it's like, so it's really interesting. We all had to try to find a way to maybe put some of the pieces back together, and some people didn't have any pieces at all.
No. And that's just one thing, you know, I'm proud of my kids, you know, because through all that's happened, they kind of, you know, focusing on our task at hand, you know. And, you know, they may go home to some, you know, troubling times or whatever, but I think that they're doing pretty well trying to handle it and manage it.
Okay. Were you able to get a chance to go and take a look at the facilities that was
Yes.
Patriot Nation?
Yeah. My locker room was torn up, you know, and I kind of sent the kids, you know, pictures of it. My office still has water in it, so
Wait, your office still physically has water in it?
It still had a little water, you know, still, you know, from the dampness and all that. It was, they did a good job of kind of closing it up, but you know, it was troubling for some of the kids. They're like, where are we going to be at, you know? So
Right.
you know, thanks for Terrible on you know, opening their doors for us, and Coach Williams and Coach Gotro for kind of, you know, giving us opportunity to have somewhere to practice at and somewhere to be.
Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about what it was like for you, and just as a coach and an educator. How was it trying to navigate this new process of being in a different school?
Well, I'm from Terrebonne High School. I graduated there, so
that's right.
It's a little easier
That's
for me.
right.
I'm back home,
Yeah,
to be
kinda,
honest.
You can be home without being at home, right?
I could be home without being at home, so
Okay.
I knew the lay of the land and I knew the area. But for some of my kids, you know, their first thing was, why we gotta be here? I'm like, man, we want a school. We want y'all to be in school. We want y'all to be engaged, and that was the most difficult thing for them, is to understand that, okay, we lost our school, and, you know, well, we're gonna be here and we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, and so just reinforcing that, it's kind of interesting that you find yourself as a motivator, right, as a coach.
Yes.
But this is a different level of motivation than you've probably ever dealt with, or maybe any coaches have ever dealt with.
I think this is about the worst I've ever dealt with. You know, we've been through storms, and, you know, we just take it for granted that, you know, it's going to be okay. But
Right.
this one was a little different, you know. So we had to, you know, start adjusting the way that we kind of do things and the way we think about things a little bit.
Okay. Has the adjustment gone well, in your opinion, with regards to the student athletes, with regards to your team? Tell us how the adjustment has gone with Terrebonne. I know initially there was a question about why we got to do it like this. But since then, let's talk a little bit about how they've done with
It's
that.
getting better. You know, it's getting better. We've adjusted our practice times, and we don't run into anything like any problems with that. But just find a place to practice, getting the logistics with the kids, and getting the kids there. That's the main thing too. The kids have to. Man, when we started practicing after school.
Right.
And then I found myself getting kids home at 8:30, almost 9 o'clock. I'm like, no, man, we can't do this. So, we really had to adjust our time and practice in the morning and kind of get kids there. And, I have to adjust as a coach and understand some things that I probably wouldn't allow to happen before. And it's been okay.
Well, it's interesting that you thought maybe like a parent. You thought, I can't have these kids finishing ball at 8:30, and then going home and then try to get something to eat, and then they got to study.
And they got to study.
Yes. I mean, because quite frankly, we don't want schooling to be impacted any more than it has.
No.
But you had to kind of think about it in those terms.
We have to. Well, you have to, because I preach to my kids, you're a student first, and so we say student athlete. So my main thing is getting them an education. The basketball is going to come, and the sports are going to happen, but we want to make sure that first off they're eligible, they're getting their grades. And I want the kids to graduate more than anything. So we had to look at that, and we really had to adjust because we didn't want that to happen to any kid to where they're really struggling in their studies.
Yeah. So y'all flipped it a little bit, and y'all started doing morning practice,
yes,
right?
Had to flip it a little bit, started doing morning practice.
Okay. Well, what's it like doing that morning practice?
I don't mind. I'm a morning person, but my kids hate it.
So maybe it's a good analogy. You kind of went home to Terrebonne, and that felt comfortable.
Yeah.
You get to do early morning practices because you're a morning person. They're like, oh man, I bet that's a level of motivation you didn't expect.
But it pays off when you have those morning games, and I saw that when we were in the tournament. We had to play at 10.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, we in practice, and my kids were up, ready, and we were okay. So so they kind of understand now a little bit, and they take it in hand.
So they got tournament ready because you flipped the script
and didn't even realize it. Yeah.
You had some kids that you were expecting that the storm kind of moved.
Yes.
And didn't have. So let's talk a little bit about coming into the season, what your expectations were.
Coming into the season, I'm not sure who was going to be there. We had a couple of kids displaced. A couple of kids moved to Texas, and so, as me being the basketball coach, I'm trying to help my football coach make sure he has his kids because all my kids play football.
Right.
And so if he has the football players, I know I'm going to have a basketball team, and, we kind of worked hand in hand with that.
Oh, very cool. And so the start of the season, let's talk about it. You guys are 8-4.
Yes.
And playing some good basketball. Let's talk a little bit about some of the season and maybe some of the things that you were a little surprised by. What shocked you about this team?
Just our start. We'd like to have a good start, but with our kids in football, it was a hard time getting them back started again, and that's been the most challenging this year. So that kind of surprised me a little bit, the way that they got started.
Okay, and quite frankly, it was interesting. It was a good thing knowing that the football players were back. You knew you were going to have your team.
Yes.
But basketball and football kind of got smashed together.
Yes, and that kind of hurts a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a mashup, if you will.
Yes.
I got to get them to change their mentality a little bit, right?
Got to get them.
Yeah, because it's a little different on the gridiron than it is on the hardwoods.
Yes, it is.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the style of ball that you guys play.
We play up-tempo style. We have 32 minutes of pain, and although we're not in the house of pain, we've adapted to Terrebonne. So our kids, they kind of, coach, this is still our gym, and that's how we're playing this year. Like no matter what gym we're in, it's going to be a home game for us, and having them in that mentality it's kind of helping them a little bit.
Okay, very good. You guys, so y'all get out and run. Y'all look at, your guards at the top. They ready to roll as soon as the ball comes off the rim.
Yes. Well, we all guards now, so we're gonna get out and run and press and kind of keep the guards in front of us, but we don't want to face too many bigs this year. So we're trying to keep an up-tempo style to where make it difficult for teams.
Okay. They got to make sure they guard you everywhere because you're running 5 guards, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
They got to guard us everywhere.
So y'all ain't slowing down and throwing the ball in the paint anytime soon.
Not this year.
Not running any triangle offenses out of a big man.
No pick and rolls this year.
No pick and rolls. I got you. Very good. Let's talk about the start of the season and kind of how things started and how you got to 8-4.
Getting to 8-4, really just kind of locking down on what we have to do. We had a pretty good schedule set up. We went to Zachary tournament. That was our latest tournament. and we dropped 2 there. You know, we kind of wanted to have a better showing at that tournament, but have some kids out. You know, have some kids hurt. So, you know, we're dealing with some injuries. And coming back from football, you're really not in basketball shape yet. So it's going to be a little process for us to get through. But once we get there, you know, we look at 3 seasons. You know, we have the tournament season, the regular season, and then playoff season. So once we get to the regular season, I think we'll be healthier and we'll be a little better.
Okay, you talked about the ability that sometimes the situation changes and you've got to make some changes. Making some changes to your scheduling. You went to some morning practices, which got you a little bit better for playing some of these tournaments. How'd that 10 o'clock game go?
That 10 o'clock game went better than what we expected. You know, and most of our kids play AAU, but they practice in the evening. So when they go to those tournaments, they're a little sluggish in the morning. That morning, you know, we were kind of in our regular routine. So I kind of felt that helped us out a lot, get through that game, because that was a tough game.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things. I like the fact that you focus on 3 phases, because what it does is it breaks things down 3 different ways for the kids. I think a lot of times kids look at one big thing like the season, especially if you have some of your seniors overwhelmed about, oh, we got to win. You know, it's my last season. It's already messed up. COVID messed it up, then Ida came and messed it up. And now it's kind of messed up, but I like that you have this tournament focus. Then you got the regular season focus, and then the playoff focus. So you got about a minute and a half left. Tell us what your hopes are for this particular school year, for this particular team, and how you want to do in 2021.
We're looking to go deep in the playoffs. You know, coming in our next season, which is the regular season, we're looking to, you know, go in our district and really kind of maintain our dominance in our district. You know, South Terrebonne's doing very well, so we want to make sure we play them well. And Vanderbilt's real young, and they're going to have a good team also. But we look at that phase and the playoff phase. We look at trying to go undefeated during that session. You know?
Wow.
Yes. And then that's our mentality. You know, we use the tournament season, we call it, to kind of get us going. And then once we get in the regular season and tournament and like a playoff time, you know, we look to kind of take off from there.
Okay, so kind of tournaments are warm-ups, getting everybody healthy, getting them into basketball shape. Regular season, the goal is to go undefeated, if I'm hearing you right. And then deep in the playoffs. Deep in the playoffs. Is there one thing that's going to get you there this year? Is there one thing you can put your finger on that says is going to get you there this year?
Our guard play. Our guard play is going to get us there, and if they take attention to detail on defense, I think we're going to be a tough out for anybody.
I learned many years ago that offense will win you some games, but defense will win you a championship.
We're trying to win a championship.
Trying to win a championship.
Yes, sir.
Coach, I appreciate your time so very much. Thank you for joining us and being able to be here, and congratulations so far, and good luck this season.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, very good. And again, that's Coach Cornell Scott of Ellender High School. The Patriots playing over at Terrebonne right now, but they treat it just like home in the House of Pain. All right, that'll do it for this Bayou Time Sports. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming when we continue.